Trevor Lawrence has had the highest of highs and the lowest of lows in his football career. He won a national championship in college, became the #1 overall draft pick, and is now 2 games into his rookie season. Through 2 games, he has completed exactly 50% of his passes, going 42 for 84 for 450 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. And through 2 starts, people are spinning it countless ways. People are looking at this and saying, well, look at Peyton Manning in '98, who threw 26 touchdowns to 28 interceptions and had a legendary career, or they are going the other route and saying, I knew Trevor Lawrence couldn't handle this, and it was going to be too much for him to do this at the professional level. High school and college are one thing, but the NFL is an entirely different ballgame, and to be truthful, it's a little bit of a mixed bag. There's certainly some plays in his first 2 games where you can look and your jaw will simply drop, and there are other plays where Trevor will indeed make rookie decisions and rookie mistakes. So I'll let you make your own judgment and present what I found in his first 2 NFL games. So we will start with a good play in today's video, and the first one is from week 1, and it was arguably the best throw of Trevor's career so far. It was 1st and 10, the Jags are down 7-0 at this point in time. The Texans are going to be in a cover 3, and through this play action fake, Trevor will get corner Terrence Mitchell and veteran corner Terrence Mitchell to bite hard. And the linebacker Zach Cunningham, number 41 specifically, looks like he also bites hard, but I want to explain the difference between Cunningham the linebacker and Mitchell the corner. Cunningham is in a robot role here, meaning he is rolling with the running back, and when Cunningham realizes it's play action, it is time to roll back into zone coverage and find a receiver to cover and to run straight at a Jaguars player, so there is less of a window for Trevor to throw the ball in, and Zach does exactly that, covering Laviska Shenault. Mitchell, on the other hand, is supposed to be covering the outer deep third of the field, but since he bit on the fake so hard, this gave veteran receiver Marvin Jones enough time to get by him and enough of a space for Trevor to fit this ball into. Trevor fits this football in a window where only his guy can get it, but also he realized he had to drop this pass in before the lurking safety over the top Justin Reed got there, and Justin Reed is a good player in his own rights and was reading Trevor's eyes the entire time, so he knew where this football was going. Trevor then had to fit the ball in just enough space to where Marvin could catch it, but not shallow enough to where Terrence Mitchell could catch up and pick this ball off, and Trevor did exactly that. And it is plays like this and throws like this on the run that show the promise and the reason why he was selected as high as he was, because remember, this is not an easy throw. Now, for a play like this, and given Trevor has 5 interceptions on 84 passing attempts, there are equally bad rookie mistakes, and it is one we're going to see here. Trevor simply gets fooled here by the coverage, and veteran corner Vernon Hargreaves is going to come away with an interception. This was Trevor's 2nd interception of the day, and here's how Trevor got fooled by the coverage. The Jags are going to have DJ Chark run a C route, and with 2 high safeties, Trevor would have had this route had Vernon not undercut this football. The Jags had a running back in the flat, and Trevor 100% thought Vernon would come down and take that away, but Vernon kept sinking and sinking and sinking until he came away with the football. And quickly, Jets head coach Robert Saleh recently said about Zach Wilson that sometimes boring is okay, and this applies to Trevor as well, because both are quarterbacks on teams that finished as the worst and 2nd worst teams in the NFL last year. It would be a hugely successful year for either rookie to lead their team to 7 wins in 2021 because of the talent or lack of on each roster. The reason I bring this quote up is Trevor had a check down in the flat, and there were less than 3 minutes left in the first half at this point in time, and it was a 2nd and 9. So if Trevor takes this check down to the running back here, I do think at worst we have a 3rd and 2 or 3 with the potential to get a first down. And remember, Vernon was starting to sink long before Trevor threw this football. But at times we all forget in the midst of things that while our team's players or our favorite players are good, the opponent they are going up against is as well. Like, Trevor Lawrence is of the top 32 at what he does in the entire world. And while Vernon may not have lived up to the expectations of being being a top 10 pick back in 2016, he is still a veteran NFL corner and is, like Trevor, one of the best in the entire world at what he does. And Vernon did technically go off script here as to what he was supposed to do, but I don't think head coach David Cullen would argue with the result. This play was a learning experience for Trevor, as truth be told, I don't think he even saw Hargraves until after the throw was made, and by that time it was far too late. Now, we have another Trevor interception from the first game, and unlike the one we just showed of a veteran corner fooling a young quarterback, this is much more on Trevor and in a sense is an ugly play. This is really a case of him just trying to do too much. Now, the situation was a 2nd and 13 play with the Jags down 17-7 in the middle of the second quarter, and as you'll see, there are 3 options better than ultimately the one Trevor went with. 1, throw the ball away. Pretty simple. 3rd and 13 on the 50 is not ideal, and I'm not saying it's this magical wonderland to be in, but it would be better than throwing a cross-body interception on a ball that really didn't need to be thrown in the first place. Trevor also could have threw the ball to the running back in the flat, and again, he may have got a yard or two to make it 3rd and 11, so we're not talking a decision to make it 17-14 in one play. But 3, and I do think this would have been the best option, but stop, set your feet, and make this throw. There's enough time to stop quickly and fire a ball in there, where it's your receiver's ball or no one. And what's frustrating is this is an extremely hard throw to begin with, and I'm not suggesting stopping and make this throw with what would have been pressure is easy, but we're discussing the NFL level of football. Nothing comes easy at this level, and Trevor found it out with his first interception. This one was truly frustrating just because he forced a ball he didn't have to. This was in the middle of the second quarter and could have been prevented with 3 separate outcomes. Both of these interceptions from week 1 are things gradually over time I do expect him to fix. And I realize Trevor's not going to be perfect, nor is any other quarterback, but if there are positive things to take away, a silver lining from both of these, is they are fixable mistakes. Urban Meyer could very easily go to Trevor and say, look, I know what you're trying for here, but in this situation right now, speaking more on the cross-body throw than the Hargraves interception, we don't need you to be that aggressive. I like the aggressiveness, and I'm speaking as if I'm Urban here, but if you're going to be that aggressive, then you have to be right, and ultimately it was a poor overthrown ball that resulted in an interception. Moving on to the Broncos game, where Trevor finished 14 of 33 for 118 yards and 2 interceptions, and aside from the first drive where he was 4 for 6 for 60 yards and a score, Trevor finished the game 10 for 27 with 58 yards and 2 interceptions, and we're going to show one of those interceptions here. This was again a 17-7 game, and Trevor was simply late on the throw. Trevor starts to climb the pocket, and he takes 3 or 4 stutter steps, and if he just throws this ball, there's plenty of room for his tight end Luke Farrell to catch this football. This was a 2nd and 3 in the third quarter, so the Jags were very much still in this game, and simply put, this is on Trevor. He was hesitant, and you can tell by how many steps he was taking in the pocket with a little bit of the happy feet here, and if he just releases the ball, it's at worst an incomplete pass. If you want to play devil's advocate and say Luke may have thrown Trevor off by turning shoulders sideways, leaving Trevor in a state of question in his mind, thinking, Luke, pick a side, where do you want me to throw this football? Well, when in doubt, throw it away from the defender. Safety Kareem Jackson is staring down this the entire time and knows where he's going with the football. He just doesn't know if he'll be able to make a play on it and whether or not he will get the interception or try and knock the ball out of Luke Farrell's hands. Because Trevor hesitates for so long and then throws a ball where he did not have a lot of juice on it, this is a very easy interception for Kareem. Combine that with the Jags having 4 receivers out for a route and 2 in the same general area at the bottom of the screen, and this is a very easy interception for Kareem to make. Now, this wasn't a terrible play call because Luke Farrell did end up getting open. It was just poor execution, and ultimately it does come down to Trevor Lawrence on this specific play. Now, we will finish on a good play for Trevor Lawrence, and it was on the first drive of the Broncos game. This was a good play and ultimately a completion of 24 yards to tight end James O'Shaughnessy. Trevor throws a ball where only his guy can get it, and James also did a great job of route running because he got the linebacker for the Broncos at a point to where his back was to him, and at that point a receiver has won the route. If you can get whether it's a DB or a linebacker to not look at you and when their entire back is facing you while they are trying to look at the quarterback, make any cut and there is enough separation at the NFL level. And that is exactly what James does, and it's a nice easy completion for Trevor and the Jags. Now, I showed several plays in today's video, and the one thing I want to reiterate most is Trevor is a rookie, and there will certainly be, and there certainly has been, rookie mistakes. He is 2 games in, and not surprisingly, they are 0-2, which I do feel was expected with how the roster was in 2020, but there are a lot of good things Trevor has done in these first 2 games. Ultimately, it will be a long rebuild even with Trevor as their quarterback, as teams don't get number 1 picks by mistakes, and we saw that with Cincinnati last year. Even before Joe Burrow went down, they were a 2-7-1 team, and they ended up going from the 1st pick to the 5th pick with a player who threw for 60 touchdowns and won a Heisman in 2019. Time will tell whether the Jags have their quarterback or not, but through 2 games I think there's been a lot of good and of course some bad as well. That first play Trevor made on the run that we highlighted in today's video is a play not many quarterbacks in the entire NFL can make, and if they can get him into a rhythm in some games coming up, there's no limit to what Trevor will be able to do. Now, with that being said, that's all I have for today's video. At this point, I ask that you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed. If you enjoy content like this, there will certainly be more out in the near future. And until next time, have a great day. Love you guys. Deuces. Peace.